When I woke up this morning, I went to go see my mom, and then I saw a gun right by her, and there was blood right here. And then she went to wake up, and I thought she was sleeping.
This is 7-year-old Dalton Corbin. Just a few hours before this footage was recorded, Dalton was at home, lying in his bed. He had just woke up and went to his mommy's room to wake her up. There, Dalton saw something he should have never seen.
I know he took the shotgun out of the house, but I don't know where it is, you know?
On December 4th, 2004, Corbin's family picture of a perfect life took a chaotic turn for the worst when 7-year-old Dalton knocked at a neighbor's door, crying hysterically for help. The neighbor immediately called 911.
But I can't 911.
My girlfriend's dead.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
She's been shot.
Little Dalton had just witnessed a nightmare, a story that would reveal some of the darkest secrets of Corbin's family. Detectives would soon connect the dots with the 14-year-old unsolved case and put an end to the killer's rampage of horror.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. It will bring tears to your eyes.
It was December 4th, 2004. At 7:30 a.m., Kelly Como hears a loud banging on her door. It's 7-year-old Dalton Corbin. His face is red, his cheeks streaking with tears. "My mom isn't breathing," Dalton said, standing there in his pajamas. "My daddy shot my mommy. I need you to call 911. Hard to process Dalton's words, Kelly sprinted next door to check on her best friend, Jennifer. The Corbins' garage door stood open, prompting Kelly to hurry inside. Discovering the kitchen door unlocked, she proceeded down the hallway with the two boys closely beside her. As she stepped into the master bedroom, she saw a brutal crime scene in front of her. Jennifer, lifeless on the bed, a gunshot wound staining the back of her head. She was dead. Kelly noticed a small stream of blood from her nose and a couple of vivid red spots on the bed. She spotted something that seemed like the handle of a gun peeking out from a blanket. It felt like a nightmare for Kelly, who stepped back cautiously, making sure not to touch anything. She sprinted to her home, bringing along the two boys, and moments later, the wailing sirens pierced the air. As the first police officers rushed to the scene, they uncovered a .38 caliber pistol concealed beneath a blanket. A nearly empty glass of wine stood beside its bottle on the nightstand, and beneath Jennifer's lifeless form lay a stack of papers. Divorce papers filed by her husband of 8 years, Bart Corbin, who was conspicuously absent when Jennifer's body was found. As Detective Marcus Head reached the Corbin residence, the officers briefed him on what seemed to be a suicide, since there were no signs of a fight. His initial thought was this:
she had been served or found out about the divorce filing and was so emotionally distraught that that was the outcome, that she had shot herself. It looked like a lot of indicators that were consistent with suicide.
The initial thought was that Jennifer, troubled by her impending divorce, took her own life with a gunshot to the head. Despite some issues with the evidence supporting this idea, the most unbelievable part was the idea that she'd do this with her two kids at home. Her husband, Bart, was found at his brother Bob's place, where he crashed for the night. Bob delivered the news and Bart just lost it. He rushed upstairs, entered the bathroom, and puked. It was like pure shock. You could see it all over him, his brother told detectives. Later in the day, the police sat down with 7-year-old Dalton Corbin for a chat.
When I woke up this morning, I went to go see my mom if I could have breakfast, and then I saw a gun right by her, and there was blood right here.
In the interview, Dalton talked about his parents' frequent arguments that week. When the detective wondered if he thought his parents might divorce, Dalton nodded with a simple, yes. That evening, Detective Head redirected his attention toward the tumultuous marriage of Bart and Jennifer Corbin, eager to dig deeper into their complex relationship. That's when he learned about all of the twisted details of their relationship. On the surface, the Corbins seemed like they had the perfect life. Jennifer Corbin, a 33-year-old wife, was married to the local dentist, Dr. Bart Corbin. She was the stay-at-home mom of their two boys, Dalton and Dylan. Their gorgeous 4-bedroom house in Buford, situated in a fancy neighborhood, and a houseboat to their name painted a picture of prosperity. Jennifer, with her kindness and outgoing nature, complemented Bart's wit and charm. However, beneath the exterior, Bart harbored a notorious temper that added an intriguing twist to their seemingly idyllic life. When his sons didn't meet his expectations, he'd throw temper tantrums and start calling them names. Their fear of him intensified with his hurtful words like idiot, crybaby, and whiner. In 2004, Bart started a secret relationship with his receptionist. Meanwhile, Jennifer got into gaming, buying a home gaming system, and diving into the online multiplayer world of EverQuest. Her obsession with the game led her to play for hours every day. During that summer, Jennifer dropped big news to her family. She wanted out of her relationship with Bart. Her sister Heather recalls Jennifer confessing, "I don't feel anything for him anymore. I love him as the father of my kids, but the spark is gone." Shortly after, Jennifer stumbled upon a player named Chris from Missouri while gaming on EverQuest. Their gaming took a spicy turn, evolving into a steamy virtual affair. As their connection deepened, Bart, tangled in his own affair, grew suspicious of Jennifer. He tirelessly scoured their home and Jennifer's car, hunting for evidence of her alleged cheating. Bart only discovered his wife's affair right before her untimely death, stumbling upon her secret emails. The turning point happened on Thanksgiving Day in 2004, right after a family dinner at her sister Heather's place. They noticed Bart acting strangely, insisting that Jennifer and the boys needed to leave suddenly. On November 30th, 2004, Bart made a trip to Troy, Alabama to meet his lifelong buddy Richard Wilson. There, he shared a startling revelation. Jennifer, his wife, was involved in an affair. Feeling threatened, Bart asked Richard for a favor to borrow a gun for his safety. Concerned for his friend, Richard agreed, allowing Bart to take a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson back to Georgia with him. Fast forward to the next Monday, Bart decides he's had enough and files for a divorce. He's aiming for the house, wants custody of the kids, and is looking for child support. Just 2 days later, Jennifer dials 911 in a panic. She caught Bart red-handed, going through her purse. He even swiped her journal and her phone. He also grabs a gun, dashes out of the house, and speeds away, dressed in nothing but a towel. Fast forward 3 days, and Jennifer is found dead. The family, drowning in sorrow, couldn't comprehend Dalton Corbin's reaction, or rather, the lack of it. At the Corbin home, family and detectives waited, anticipating Bart's arrival to comfort his boys on their darkest day, but he never appeared. Bart waited a solid 8 hours before talking to the detectives. When he rolled into the police station, ready for a gunshot residue test, his lawyer was right by his side. He clammed up and wouldn't say anything about Jennifer, shutting down all the questions. On the night of her murder, with her 2 sons peacefully asleep, Jennifer engaged in nearly 4 hours of conversation with an online friend, initially over the phone and later through emails. Official records reveal their communication lasted until approximately 1:40 a.m. A mere few minutes later, tragedy struck as a bullet claimed Jennifer's life. Just 24 hours into his inquiry, Head, the investigator, was convinced that Jennifer hadn't taken her own life. He sensed turbulence in her marriage and at the Corbin home. There were some real challenges in the marriage and right here in the Corbin household, he notes. I'm starting to believe there's definitely more to this story. Besides Bart acting suspiciously, there were problems with the evidence that didn't add up to a suicide. Despite finding an almost empty wine glass and a bottle on Jennifer's bedside table, the toxicology report revealed no alcohol in her system. They tested Jennifer's hand for gunshot residue, and it showed no signs. Plus, the gun had no fingerprints. Someone had wiped them clean. The forensic expert declared her death a homicide, pointing fingers directly at her husband, making him the prime suspect. Days later, a strange call shook the detective to the core, pushing him to trust his instincts. Unexpectedly, a woman reached out with a lead that connected the dots. Jennifer's end might link to the 14-year-old suicide of Dorothy Dolly Hearn. Bart, a dental student in 1990, had been in an on-again, off-again relationship with Dolly. But when she tragically lost her life, they were off again, this time for good. Without hesitation, he dialed the sheriff's department in Augusta, 150 miles away, eager to unravel the mystery surrounding Dolly's tragic end. Brushing off the dusty case files, he dove into the investigation. Uncovering details, the sheriff found that back on June 6, 1990, his father, back then also a sheriff, rushed to a 911 call reporting a gunshot. Entering through the front door, he spotted Dolly on the couch, leaning over with a gunshot wound to her right temple, Peebles recounts. Days later, when the autopsy report arrived, it shockingly concluded that Dolly, a 27-year-old dental student, had taken her own life. However, there was a key tip from a witness that got the detectives on the right track again. The witness revealed seeing a shirtless man in Dolly's bathroom on the day she died, fitting Bart Corbin's description. Years after the case was closed, a blood pattern expert reviewed the scene and found that Dolly wasn't shot where she was found. Something was not adding up. Investigators now suspected one chilling possibility. Bart had attempted to orchestrate his wife's suicide, a sinister plot similar of a crime he had seemingly succeeded with 14 years prior. Investigators on both cases connected the dots. They were in pursuit of the same elusive man. Dr. Eric Rader, Bart's dental school office mate, also added a shocking layer to the story with some damning claims. Around spring 1990, just before Dolly's tragic end, Bart confided in him, admitting he had almost killed her. He told me he waited in Dolly's apartment parking lot with a gun, planning to shoot her, Rader disclosed in a statement. With this revelation, Dolly's death took a dark turn. Reclassified as a homicide, Bart Corbin found himself back in the spotlight as the prime suspect once more. Now, Scott Peebles down in Augusta, diving into Dolly's case, faced a daunting challenge. Bart had already been declared innocent of her murder back in 1990, despite confessing he was at Dolly's apartment when she passed away. It was clear Peebles needed more evidence to pin Bart for Dolly's murder. He had to dig deeper. The breakthrough came when he decided to re-examine the crime scene photos. This second look might just be the key to finally putting Bart behind bars for good. After looking at Dolly's case closely again, detectives found some inconsistencies. There wasn't a drop of blood on her hand, where you'd expect it, Piper remarks. No blood on the weapon either. The absence of blood in the right places convinced Piper that Dolly didn't take her own life with that gunshot. And a blood smear on Dolly's thigh made Piper think someone had tampered with the scene. She couldn't have made this stain. Impossible. So someone else was there, he emphasized. Piper shared with Scott Peebles his belief that Dolly's body had been shifted. Though it was a small lead, Peebles, knowing Bart was with Dolly the day she died, held on to hope. Also, detectives working on Jennifer Corbin's case dug into Bart's cell phone records, tracing his every step on the night of the murder. While Bart claimed to be at his brother's place around 2 a.m., the time Jennifer met her tragic end, the cell phone logs told a different tale, placing him dangerously close to the very house where Jennifer was. Investigators also discovered that the angle of the bullet wound and the blood trail on Jennifer's face didn't match up with a suicide. Then, on December 22, 2004, Bart Corbin faced arrest for murder. Not Jennifer's, but Dolly's. The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office arrested him at his workplace, a strategic move to catch him off guard. Given his notorious temper, predicting Bart's reaction to the arrest warrant was impossible. Seizing the moment, officers closed in on the Chevy Suburban, pulling Bart out at a traffic light, swiftly handcuffing him without wasting any time. Just 2 weeks after getting arrested in Dolly's case, he faced another charge for killing his wife, Jennifer. Barton Corbin found himself accused of murdering his girlfriend in 1990 and his wife in 2004. To fight his case, he brought in top-notch legal experts, claiming both deaths were suicides and his link was merely coincidental. Danny Porter, the district attorney for Gwinnett County, worked tirelessly on his case against Bart. His primary goal was to establish that Jennifer hadn't taken her own life. Initially, there's this close-range gunshot wound to the head, and the gun is right there on the bed beside the body. What's intriguing is there's no sign of a fight or someone breaking in, Porter shared. Now, Porter was trying to connect the dots between Bart and that gun, last seen all the way in Troy, Alabama. Porter discovered Bart's close friend, Richard Wilson, living in Troy. He also found evidence that Bart visited Wilson just 4 days before Jennifer's death. Porter's investigators reached out to Wilson, only to be met with reluctance. Wilson didn't want to be part of it. Porter believed he could prove to the jurors that Bart had a motive. The prosecutor claimed that Bart couldn't accept Jennifer and Dolly leaving him, a fact that, according to Porter, was crucial for the case. Harvey, Bart's attorney, insisted there was no more proof today than 14 years ago linking his client to Dolly's death. The only change in these 14 years is the unrelated, unfortunate incident involving Jennifer Corbin, he said. They claimed Jennifer had a strong reason to take her own life, and it revolved around her internet lover. As they already knew, back in the summer of 2004, Jennifer dove into the world of online gaming with a computer game named EverQuest. It wasn't long until Jennifer found herself in communication with a member of her EverQuest team, Christopher, exchanging personal emails. Starting off as friendly messages, they quickly turned intensely sexual. A month or two passed, and it seemed like Jennifer and Chris were mapping out a future, despite never meeting in person or talking on the phone. In this online tale, a seemingly strong connection was made, a digital bond with someone you believed would be your soulmate. But reality shattered that illusion for Jennifer. Chris wasn't the soulmate she imagined. In fact, he wasn't even a man. Just before her tragic end, Jennifer discovered the shocking truth. Chris was, in fact, Anita, a woman. Chris confessed to being a she, and Jennifer, in her emails, expressed the devastation. "You've torn my heart out. I can't live this lie. It's killing me." The very next day, Jennifer fired off some furious emails to Anita. Fast forward to the evening when they finally talked on the phone for the first time. Right after that call, Jennifer confessed that she was head over heels, no matter if it was a he or she. "I love you no matter who you are," she said. Her marriage was on the line, contends Bruce Harvey, as were her home and her children. "We can clearly demonstrate that this entire situation was a blueprint for suicide," said Harvey. Anita insisted Jennifer was stressed, not depressed or suicidal. She said Jennifer was envisioning a future together, even suggesting a move to Atlanta. As the trial started, Bart's lawyer, Bruce Harvey, believed he could convince the jury that both Dolly and Jennifer had reasons for taking their own lives. The tension raised since a guilty verdict for the murders might lead to Bart Corbin facing the ultimate penalty, the death sentence. Porter aimed to nail Bart, even without a clear link to the murder weapon. Ready to take on Bart, Porter faced a challenge. A crucial witness was absent, Richard Wilson, the man the prosecutor believed supplied Jennifer's husband with the gun. But Wilson remained silent. After relentless questioning by investigators over several months, Wilson finally cracked. He admitted to providing his close friend Bart with a gun merely 4 days before Jennifer's tragic end. The gun Wilson handed him happened to be the very weapon that was used to shoot Jennifer. As Porter delivered the news to Bart's lawyers, they quickly grasped that their case was lost. Fast forward to September 15, 2006, Corbin accepted the deal to confess both murders. Right there in the courtroom, he told the truth about killing his own wife and his old girlfriend Dolly. No response, no emotion. It's like staring into a shark's eyes, just emptiness, Porter remembers. He got hit with 2 life sentences, with a chance at parole in just 14 years. But that was unlikely to happen. Thanks to a deal he struck, he spared himself from facing the death penalty. Dalton and Dylan Corbin continued living with their aunt and uncle, Heather and Doug Tierney. They affectionately refer to Heather as Aunt Mommy. Heather can't hold back tears when she talks about Jennifer, and it seems like it will be that way forever. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.